Hey guys, welcome back. I'm your host, Braxton Wheeler. This is First Pitch. I'm here with head coach Ryan Brittle. Sorry we weren't able to make it to you last week. It was a tough week. We had midterms. I had midterm tests, and Gary was pretty busy. We were all pretty busy, so sorry about that we didn't make it to you last week. But here we are again for a fresh episode this week. We have a lot to talk about, but we'll just go ahead. We'll move past the Virginia Wesleyan weekend just because it feels like forever ago at this point. So we'll go ahead and let's do a little recap of last week against Hampton-Sydney and Pfeiffer. Coach, where do you want to start with that?
Let's just move to yesterday.
All right, it's cool. Let's do it. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm joking. The Hampton-Sydney, we went to Hampton-Sydney, got off to a rough start, and we've done that the last 5 games until yesterday, giving up runs early in the game, kind of getting ourselves behind and struggling to make up runs and to get ourselves back in the ball game. Hampton-Sydney game is a halted game, so we'll finish that game when we play them here. I think it's April the 19th, something like that. We play them at home, so we'll finish that game first, and then we'll play our regular scheduled game that day. The Pfeiffer series was an interesting series. Pfeiffer's team coming into our conference, they're not eligible for postseason play because they still have scholarship guys on their roster. Those dudes can hit.
Yeah, definitely.
They can hit. And so I think it was the first game. Callahan was on the mound. We got down early. I think it was 6-0, something like that. And we didn't hit at all. We haven't really hit until the last 2 games, really the second half of the Emory and Henry game and yesterday. But we found a way to scratch ourselves back in the game. We scored 6, I think, in the 7th inning of the first game against Pfeiffer and tied it up, and then we ended up giving up a run in the 9th or the 8th, and then lost 7-6. The second game was similar. We went down 3 runs early on. Jake Holland settled in and pitched well. We have some good relief appearances out of the bullpen. We scored 3 runs to tie it up late in that game, the 7th or 8th inning, and ended up giving up 3 runs, I think, 3 or 4 runs in the 8th or 9th inning, and lost that game as well, 7-3, I believe. And then the third game of the series, they came out swinging it, and we really were never in the ball game. But the Emory and Henry game that we played on Tuesday. Man, I was standing in the dugout trying not to lose my mind, and in amazement of we give up 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and 6 in the third. We're down 10-0 after 3 innings. And we scratch and claw. One thing about our club, we don't give up. We haven't given up all year. We haven't hit the ball. We haven't pitched it very well at times. Some guys have pitched it great, and then the other ones haven't pitched it well at all. But we haven't ever given up, and we ended up losing that game 15-11, but started swinging the bats a little bit. And yesterday, we actually had Sam Suit on the mound yesterday as a junior from Bassett, and he started for us. He actually gave up 3 straight singles, so we had the bases loaded with nobody out. We gave up a run and got an out, and then we turned a double play. And ended up only giving up 1 run in the first. And Sam settled in from there. He threw a ton of strikes yesterday. Was throwing his breaking pitch for a strike and his changeup for a strike. And we started executing a little bit offensively. We had a couple hit and runs that were pretty good. We had a safety squeeze with Jake Martin at the plate that we scored a run and moved the guy up. And then it gave us a little bit of breathing room, and we started swinging the bat a little bit and ended up winning yesterday 17-3. We had 19 hits. Every run we scored was driven in, so all 17 runs were RBIs, and so that's a positive thing. We had guys scratching, clawing, fighting at the plate, trying to make contact with 2 strikes, and I think we ended up walking 5 times and struck out 5 times. So it was good to see, and certainly a good feeling to have going into our first conference weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I saw yesterday, I was listening to it on the radio because I pitched a prior day and I didn't have to travel yesterday. It was fun to listen to on the radio, and I believe Washington and Lee, threw 11 pitchers. So we definitely got in the bullpen, and that's what Coach always preaches, try to get in the bullpen. And pass it on to the next guy and give up yourself for the better of the next player. And I believe it's exactly what we did yesterday. And so, Coach, next question is, what do you try and preach to players when times get tough? Because like the Pfeiffer series was tough, Hampton-Sydney was tough. We've showed some fight in the Pfeiffer series in the first 2 games, like you said. In the 3rd game, we didn't necessarily. But it's a lot easier to do things when things are going right. But when things are going harder, including this, sometimes it can be tougher. So how do you get the fight out of each player when times get tough?
So I've said this to myself, to individual players, and to the team a lot this year. Adversity is an opportunity to have great personal growth and great team growth. You can grow. You have an opportunity to grow more through adversity than you do when things are going good. Because when things are going good, you won't change anything. You'll just keep doing the same thing because it's been working for you. But when things aren't working, it's time to reflect, to figure out what it is that isn't working for you, and to improve upon that. So I truly believe that the adversity that we faced throughout the first part of this year will help us be a better team at the end of the year. So that's and the goal is not to win. The goal is to win tomorrow, but the real goal is to win at the end.
That's right.
And that's what we're moving towards.
And actually, after the Emory and Henry game, we had a team meeting, and the team meeting went really well, I believe. We had it right in the locker room afterwards. And last year, Comer and Stickney and Weaver and Deaver, we did the same thing when times started tough at the beginning. And right after that, things kind of flipped around for us, and it went in a positive direction. And definitely yesterday was a good start with that. So the team meeting, it's not a magic trick, but it's worth a shot, and I believe that definitely helped out a little bit yesterday. So we talked a little about this first conference series this weekend with Averett. Coach, you have anything else to say about Averett this weekend and the scheduling of it?
Averett's always a fun series because there's no love lost between us and Averett. Although I don't dislike anybody on Averett's team or anything like that, but they bring out the best in us and we bring out the best in them, and it's always a fight. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Always is. There might be a little trash talking. Sometimes there's some of that going on in the dugout, but. They got a new coach, Drew Bailey, and he's a good young coach, and he's going to do things the right way. And look forward to having them in town. Look forward to being at home for a 3-game series over the weekend. And we can report now, it's been official, but we are changing that series this weekend. So we're going to play a doubleheader on Saturday starting at 1:00, and we're going to play a single game on Sunday at 1:00. So no game tomorrow, Friday, March the 2nd. The wind is supposed to be howling all over the state of Virginia. Yeah, reports of up to 60-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow. But so we're moving that game back to Saturday. We're starting at 1:00, and then we'll play 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. So
we're looking forward to it. We've had a lot of injuries, injuries or beat-up players, and I just want to get to talk to Coach a little bit about the status of those, like Dominic Claxton. He's been out for a little bit of time. Jake Martin's been playing with a hurt wrist. Kyle, Nate, some guys have been hurt a little bit. So
you're not supposed to tell everybody.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. Sorry. But anyway, update on the health of players and next man up mentality.
So just along with the way that our season's going, the progression of these guys that are injured, that have been injured, we're getting better, and our season's getting better at the same time. And there's no coincidence in that. Clax hopefully will be back soon. We'll see. Jake played yesterday, played shortstop, and he hit a double. Hit a double yesterday, so that's the first time he swung a bat in about a week. But he's doing good. We got some other nagging injuries, but everybody's just bumps and bruises, and they've been out for a few games, and they're back, and they'll get back in the swing of things. And there's no excuses. When one guy, it happens to everybody. When one guy goes down, somebody else has got to step in, like Tucker Brown. Shout out to Tucker Brown, who got his first collegiate hit yesterday. Yes, Sam Stu got his first collegiate win yesterday, so awesome days for those guys. And but guys are manning up and playing hurt and doing a job. So we'll be ready to go for this weekend.
So me and Mike Dorsonville talk about when we're stretching sometimes the next man up mentality, and how we wake up at 6 a.m. the first week of school and condition all off season. We don't do that just for nothing. We wake up and we do it for a reason, for the next man to get up there and step up when he has the opportunity. So this question was actually sent in from your brother.
Do I need to read this?
Yeah, read it. Yeah,
so this is from my brother to Braxton. My brother's always, in fact, he texted me last night and said, "Hey, where's this first pitch? Where's your new episode of First Pitch?" And I said, "We're doing one tomorrow." So my brother wanted to ask Braxton, how hard is it mentally to get ready for the season and the grind?
It definitely can be challenging in different ways. I believe the accountability process would probably be the toughest thing, trying to balance school schedules, your school schedule work with your practice, and just putting your 100% effort into every single thing. A lot of times people often say that I believe if I had more time off, like if you didn't play a sport in college, that you would do better in the classroom. I'm here to tell you that I think it's a complete opposite. I think when you have sports to hold you accountable, it makes me personally do a better job in the classroom, because I feel like, first of all, we have attendance, and we got to go to class so we can play games and stuff like that. And mentally, it can be challenging sometimes, for your social life in a way. Sometimes that kind of gets looked over. I mean, our baseball friends are really our best friends that we have, and sometimes other social life can be pushed away. But it's tough, all of it around. But, to do something great, you have to be different. And without being different, you can't expect to do something great. And that's, we could talk about it for a long time, and I believe the team players would agree with me as well. You just have to know who you do it for as well. You have to know how far you've came. Your family, is bigger than you. All of this is bigger than yourself. And if you don't realize that it's bigger than yourself, you'll never get to this success point that you want to. So it's kind of the way I look at that, and that's you have to dig deep inside of you for that, Coach. So there's the answer to that question. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'd have to say on that one. And to finish off this week's episode, so last 2 weeks ago, episode we asked Coach what his favorite food was and restaurant. And so this week, it's just pretty simple. What do you enjoy doing outside of baseball, Coach?
So I don't get to see my family a whole lot during the season. I have two daughters, Cooper and Dylan, and I have a son named Ryland. So I love spending time with those guys, and my wife Rebecca. I guess I better not leave her out. She might get mad, not lock the door, not let me back in. But obviously, I enjoy my family. It's certainly a respite from the rigors of being a college baseball coach. But I enjoy the outdoors. So I like to hunt and I like to fish, and I like to get out there and just enjoy nature. And hunting season in the fall, October, November, December is kind of my refresher, because we really don't take a break. We go all summer, we go all fall, we go all spring, and so that's my passion. One of my passions other than baseball is hunting. And then I enjoy my church, man. I love to go to church. I love Jesus Christ, and I love supporting the things that He would have me do. And I'm in charge of the young men, not only the young men here at Ferrum College with the baseball team, but I'm in charge of the young men at church, and have to go there on Wednesday nights to do activities with them, and I enjoy that as well.
So I would kind of have to say the same thing. I love to go. When I get some free time, like yesterday I had some free time, I went home and saw my grandparents. She had surgery, and I just like to go spend time with them and my family, because we don't get to as often because we're really busy. But that's all I have. Come out Saturday as we open up conference play versus Averett, 1 o'clock. Be there. We need everybody there. So I'm Braxton Wheeler, your host, with head coach Ryan Brittle. See you next week.